Welcome into Healing Pathways, where I, Corey Newley from Pathway Led by Corey, go over various ways and different methods that you could use on your self-healing journey and on your journey towards your higher self. Today I want you to imagine yourself, whether you have just lost somebody, whether you are witnessing a friend who have lost somebody, and you have no possible way of consoling them. And all they want to do is just get one last message from the person that they just lost or the person that they're grieving over from years ago. Whether it's yourself, whether it's somebody that you know, having that last message opportunity when you didn't get a chance to have that last goodbye is something that can be profoundly healing on so many different levels. So, to talk about that specifically, which is known as mediumship, I have today here with me Ermi to discuss mediumship, as she is a professional medium and someone that I trained under as a beginner medium. So, hello, Ermi.
Hi, Corey.
How are you?
I am well, doing great.
Amazing, amazing. So, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your business, a little bit about your history and your story with mediumship.
Okay. Well, I am Ermi. I am an intuitive. I've learned that I am an actual medium or able to tap into spirit and connect with spirit from a young age. I didn't understand it at first, but then over time, I just knew things about people. I would see past loved ones and thought it was just like imagination because we were taught, that's just your imagination. It's just your imagination. So I was always put it to the side and not address it, but it kept coming forth and it kept coming in different ways through different people. And just me being in the midst of my room, I could see an energy step forward, or I could look at a photo that's in my house and I could feel like the eyes are watching me. And so I don't know if you've ever felt like that before, but that was one of the things I realized, okay, there's more to this, but I thought everybody can do it in my mind. So it was nothing for me to really address or tell my mom or tell anybody. It was just like, okay, everybody can do it.
There's no
And my
big deal.
mom, right,
Yeah.
it was no big deal to talk about it because everybody can do it. But then again, I was placed in, or I grew up in church. And so that's where I began to learn, okay, well, this might not be a good thing. I'm seeing people, I'm seeing spirits, and they talking about we're not supposed to be seeing spirits or talking to spirits, or these are demons and don't respond to these energies. And so I began to kind of suppress it even more or just not talk about it at all because I don't want to go and be banished to hell and be put in these places and not be judged. I didn't want any of that type of energy towards me from the community. I didn't want to be looked at as, okay, something's wrong with you. Going to my mom saying, hey, your daughter is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think that's a common experience, though, for a lot of mediums too. And that's something that we'll talk about later on, is people who feel like they're mediums, but necessarily maybe haven't stepped into it out of fear.
absolutely. And with me, I can definitely say over time, I just allowed it to be, but I knew not to say much. So if I got the unction to say something, I will say it, but I also will try to like, say, well, God said, or, try to like sugarcoat it a little bit so I don't get that attention directly at me. Right now, I have actually took that mediumship title. I want to say about maybe 2 years ago, about two, maybe 3 years ago, when I actually started to put myself in these spaces and see it. Well, spirit directed me in these spaces to where I'm on TikTok and I'm seeing a medium and I'm like, well, what is that? What is she doing? What are they doing? And it caught my
Yeah.
eye. And then I'm like, spirit kept telling me, you can do that. You can do that, right? I need you to pay attention. I kept hearing, pay attention. Time to pay attention. You need to pay attention. I'm like, wait, pay attention to what? So, yeah, starting to see those people, a lot of different mediums, and I didn't even know the title medium. I didn't even know that what that was. But we all know them to be just psychics, I was like, okay, that's a psychic. She's able to pull cards and everything. But spirit was like, you can actually do this. And so as I began to trust spirit, and the main story of my life is trust, because I didn't have really big trust. I had trust issues, I should say, with a lot of people. And trusting was very hard for me because of physical people around me. And then I'm out now, I'm trying to learn how to trust spirit because everybody lied to me. Everybody's a liar. Well, I know, Spirit, you might be a liar too. And Spirit's like, I need you to trust me. I need you to begin to trust me. And so that's pretty much like the main I guess the main thing about my life. I don't want to say thing. I'm trying to place a word with that, but I think that's the main story of my life is to trust. And so not only just trust people, but truly trust spirit. So I have to trust
Mm,
spirit first in order for me to trust people and have spirit guide the right people to me. So in that trust, I did have a person that I took their class because I watched her. And I was just so intrigued. I was like, okay, she sounds, spirit's like, go ahead, take the class. So I took her class, but I felt like I wasn't being really taught anything. It was just the basics. And I watched how she talked to the other students who one person asked, well, what is a spirit guide? And her response was, how would you not know what a spirit guide is? And I'm like, wait a minute, this lady, wait a minute now.
I'm like, oh.
Hey, why is she talking to the student like that? So that made me not want to say much. I'm like, hold on. Okay, why am I here?
And
But
again, we have that trust coming up again. Yeah.
right, the trust. Yep. And so she would always just randomly pick people to just channel. And it's like, but you still haven't taught us what to do. You still, but Spirit, at the end of it all, Spirit said, I had you in that class because I wanted you to see what not to do because you're going to teach too. And I'm like,
Mm.
what? You're full of crap. I don't believe it. Whatever. Until until I started to go live and just pulling cards and in the midst of the night because I'm also a nurse. So I would work a night shift and those days that I had off, I would be in the midst of the night going live because I knew people wasn't watching. Everybody was asleep. And whoever was watching, I would pull cards for them. Just one card pull, just read the card and then move on to the next. I didn't go and dig too deep into the card. But everybody was like, oh my God, that's literally valid. Yes, yes. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. And then I did mediumship. I tried it out on a live one night and it was still spot on. I was like, wait, okay, there's something here. There's something here.
There's something.
Yeah. And so I continued to push and started to go live during the daytime, but I would do spirit led. Everything was spirit led, spirit led, spirit led. I was scared of doing tarot on top of that. So I'm pulling cards, but it was oracle cards. So I can talk about the word sensitivity. Like that's easy. But now tarot is like, wait a minute, 7 of Wands. What is that?
Yeah, now we're getting into a whole different level.
Right, a whole Yep. So the more I did mediumship, and then I did my first mediumship private session with Jessica. That was my very first. She booked the session with me.
Oh, I
Yep.
love that.
This was my very first private one-on-one session. That was last year. While I was out traveling as a nurse. She was my first. She trusted me, and I was like, okay, Spirit, what is happening? And
You
Spirit's
know,
like, people trust you.
interestingly enough, she was the first 101 that I booked while I was in your class, because previous to that, I had never done any sort of mediumship booking, any sort of mediumship reading. But I took your class and I felt confident enough. I was like, oh, I want to practice. Let me reach out to Jessica because I know she'll be open.
Oh,
She was my first one-on-one too. So I love that. I
yay!
love that. Shout out to you, Jessica.
Shout out to Jess. One time from a girl, Jess. I love you, Jess. But Jess trusted me and just I connected with her dad and my mind was blown and the things that her dad's energy was saying. And her dad passed away when she was like 8 or 9. And he had a lot of information that was relevant to her now, and I was like, wait a minute. It was just so accurate. And just a few details, like he just said pizza. He said pizza. And I'm like, I don't even know. I keep hearing pizza. And she was like, oh my God, I definitely know what the pizza means. And it was something that was very traumatic in her life that was connected to pizza.
Oh,
Of course,
wow.
I'm thinking you need to go get a slice of pizza, sis. I think your dad is telling you to go get lunch. No.
He's telling you
It's
to go
like,
eat. No.
go eat. But it's like Spirit's like his energy, or afterwards I realized, oh my God, this was something very, very heavy for her. And it was a preparation for her healing. But again, I was just doing it as, let me just go ahead and connect and channel and do that. But as I continued, I was getting little by little more readings, more people to book readings. And Jenny the Dragon, Jenny the Dragon, she was one that did a little a consultation with me. And I was like, okay, let me see what I can help you with. And it was like a little small consultation, but it ended up being a very long conversation where she was like, you need to be teaching us this. You need to be. I'm like, ma'am, I just met you. What are you talking about? I need to be teaching. I kind of don't know you. You telling me I need to teach. And so she kind of like she lit the fire in me. And Yeah, I think she was one of the main ones that lit the fire. Like, you need to teach this. You need to teach this. So I said, okay, well, what does that look like, Spirit? Because I know you used Jenny to tell me this. So now what does that look like for me?
How do I
And
do
so,
this? Where do I
right,
go?
how do I do it? What do I do? And Spirit began to show me, okay, this is what you're gonna do. And I'm fully Spirit led. I just want Spirit to tell me everything I need to do. I've already went through the church and listened to what the pastor and the leaders of the church say, but what about what is Spirit saying to me for me to trust myself and my higher self? So I got to understand my higher self. I got to understand what spirit guides are. I got to understand a lot of it just by listening to what spirit and my guides tell me. And it got me this far. Already 120 something students, or 130 probably
Wow.
students under my belt. And I'm just so proud of that. Even if they have not continued as a medium, but they were able to connect and channel and be able to, oh my God, to overcome that fear. And some of them, again, ego may beat them up and make them slide back into that state of fear. But I always still remind them because they still come around and they still message me. And I will always encourage them and say, hey, we can always do this again. You can always, we're here. I give you the space, which in my Discord, and that space was created for mediums to continue their practice. So I don't just
Yeah.
really let you go, after that time. Jessica's crew, who was my very, very beginning, Jessica, Jenny, my sister Tiffany, that crew I did let go because I was thinking, okay, I taught them what they needed to learn and now they can go and do their thing. But it's a continual thing. I can't just cut the group off. I couldn't, so my second group, I'm like, okay, let's see how I can make it better. And then by my third group or fourth group, I think you're in my third group, and I didn't have the classroom, the Google Classroom. Kind of
No,
got
you
that idea
didn't.
from you. And I was like, oh my God, Corey, I didn't even know this thing existed. Because as a nurse, we don't do all of this stuff. Nursing, we have our own system within the hospital. There are no Google Classrooms. There's no other teaching stuff we're doing like CEUs. And that's like once a year. So
Yeah.
our classroom is just us going to the rooms that they have for HR, and we go learn, do our thing, and then we come back and we continue to take care of patients. So seeing that with I was like, oh, Corey, I love that. And then I started to implement Google Classroom with it for my students. So every group of students that has come and trained under me, I've started to really push them and have the quizzes and have them doing a lot of sessions to push them. And so as a result, we're seeing more and more. And not even just that, it's just representation was big for me too.
Mm,
Representation was big for me too, because I was not seeing a lot of people that look like me. A
mm.
Haitian American black woman, you wouldn't even know if I'm Haitian, just a black woman. I don't see many black women out here saying they're psychic mediums. I wasn't seeing black women as on For You page. I saw a lot of Caucasian women doing it.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, we're the people that look like me. Again, I love all races. That's not even a thing. It's just that we need it. More of
It's
us need to be out
representation.
here, right?
It
More of
is.
us need to
Yeah.
be out here, and who's representing me? Because a lot of people won't go to a Caucasian woman or a Caucasian male or a Spanish woman because of whatever traumas or things they've had growing up. They can't connect with that. So
Absolutely.
I felt like spirit was. I didn't even know that, Corey, until somebody made me realize that. It was like, oh my God, a black woman is doing this. And I'm like, wait, what? It didn't
Well,
come me until she said that. Go ahead.
it's all, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
no, you're fine.
it's also cultural stuff too,
Right,
right?
right,
Because I mean, if we look at lineage, there's someone from maybe your ancestral line being Haitian that might be able to connect with
mhm,
somebody else who's Haitian, whereas somebody in my ancestral line is going to have no chance of
yeah,
being able to connect with.
at all.
At all, right?
Right,
So it comes down to also cultural differences too, and accessibility to spirit through those cultural differences and how healing that can be as well.
right, right,
So I also, well, the other thing I wanted to mention too, because as you were talking, I noticed how profoundly healing it was for you throughout this whole process to become a medium. So beyond, I mean, before we look into how mediumship is healing for you or before or for anybody else, I do want to preface actually right now that we are not trained psychologists, right? We are
right.
not medical professionals. We are not counselors. Um, Anything of that nature, do not seek medical advice, do not seek psychological advice from us. We are simply giving you information as to how mediumship can be healing on your own journey, but throughout the process, we do also advise that you seek medical and psychological help as needed as well. And it should always be paired with, right? The holistic approaches should always be paired with those medical approaches, and one should never be favored over the other. Okay, y'all.
Absolutely.
So yeah, before we go into that, I wanted to preface that, but kind of jumping back into it, mediumship was super, super, super healing for you becoming a medium, right? And I want to talk
Mhm.
about that because that was my experience as well. And now having 120, 130 students from your perspective, is that the case for most of your students that becoming a medium is actually a healing process in of itself?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Um, I did not realize how much healing comes with it because I was just doing the work. I was just connecting with loved ones. I was just doing it. But when I saw a lot of my students respond to me and tell me, "You have no idea what you've done for me. I am no longer depressed. I don't even take my antidepressants anymore." I say, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. I hope you're not taking it because they were like, no, I did go to my doctor. I was like, please go get checked. Because I don't want you to not take what you were prescribed to take because you took a class. And they were like, no, 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 no. I see that I am not losing my mind. I am not in even somebody like, I guess their dosages of their antipsychotics, they even got it lowered.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah. Like, if I could find it, Corey, I will send you a copy of the response from one of my students who said, I am no longer on this high dose of antipsychotics because now I have an understanding of, the energies that I see or what I'm hearing or all this that I thought I was losing it. And I'm not saying that there's not chemical balance or imbalances in the brain. I'm not saying that either, but some people realize, okay, wait, I'm not losing it. I don't need these medications. I have an understanding. I can talk to these spirits. I can talk to these loved ones. I can talk to these energies, and I can set boundaries.
Yeah.
I have a better understanding now. Like they don't have to, impose on my mind and give me these intrusive thoughts. I don't have to have that anymore. I know now how to set boundaries. I know how to talk to these energies and tell them, hey, not today, not right now. I'm trying to live my best life. I'm trying to focus. I have a set time where I do connect with you guys, but I don't want to connect with you guys all day because how am I being productive? I can't be productive in life constantly talking to energies all day long. So one of the main things with the class is to help people understand, hey, let me help you understand that you can actually talk to these energies, but also set boundaries. And you still can live a great life, not being bound to the thoughts and the voices and the feelings and all of it. You could set some of it and continue to still live your life and live a good life, live a happy life. So yeah, I had a few people tell me, I'm not even on meds anymore. Or I'm not even depressed anymore. So that's why I feel like, oh my God, I'm doing something. There's something here. And thank you, Spirit, because I don't have to be afraid of this. And I don't have to be afraid and I don't have to worry about who is still afraid. I just move, just keep going, girl. Just keep going. Friends, just keep going. You have this. It's not the end of it all. It's just like a little light bulb that I help ignite or turn on.
Yeah. And in my case, I want to talk a little bit about my specific story and how healing it was to take your class for me, right?
Okay.
And just to go into mediumship in general was healing, but taking your class specifically helped me to navigate that. So that's why I said taking your class specifically, but anybody looking to go into mediumship may experience similar, where some past fears you will have to face and you will have to
Mm-hmm.
address. Specifically, when I was very young, I have to say 5 or 6, actually probably 6 or 7, but um, I remember having my first experience with clairaudience,
Mm-hmm.
right? That auditory,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're young, you're automatically semi tapped in, depending on
Mm-hmm.
how young you are. As you get older, you naturally disconnect on a certain
Mm-hmm.
level. But I remember just hearing and being excited, and I went to go and tell my dad, and my dad responded with, "Oh no, the CIA has implanted something in your brain." and they're giving you messages, and you need to ignore all those messages, and you need to not listen to them because they're going to tell you to do bad things. And it's going
What?
to start out as something small so that you learn to trust them, and then you're going to eventually start doing everything that they say. And I explicitly remember having this conversation at 6 or 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
right? And me trusting my dad at that time,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years later, I would cut contact with him completely.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, having that discussion at that time, it terrified me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I suppressed any mediumistic abilities that I may have had
Mm-hmm.
from that point forward until I took your class. And then
Mm.
that clairaudience came back, and I felt that fear again, that same fear,
Mm.
and I had to address it again. So for
Mm.
me, it was healing in that nature of having to readdress the same fear that I felt as that 6 or 7 year old boy that kind of implanted itself within me and then took root. And I kind of had to pull the roots up on that.
Wow.
So it was extremely healing for me. It was extremely healing for me.
Wow. I just got chills. I love that, Corey. I love that. I absolutely love that. And that your story is similar to a lot of people, a lot of the students. That is so true. And it also is a little bit of I want to say a little bit of my story as well, because when my aunt passed away, I wanted to know where she was because I felt like I wasn't going to heal from her leaving me. And, I have a mom. I mean, my mom raised me, but my aunt raised me. She was like my grandmother. She was
Yeah.
proxy grandmother. And so she is the one that did everything. Fed me and my brothers, took us everywhere because my mom worked. My mom worked all the time. And so when she left, because she mentioned she was I'm not gonna be here forever. And I'm like, lady, you will live forever. What are you talking about?
Until
You're
I'm
never gonna
200
die.
years old, you will
Right.
live.
Right. And when it was the point where Spirit was already starting to tell me, hey, begin to pay attention. At that point when I was telling you, Spirit kept saying, pay attention, pay attention. That's when I began to hear clairaudiently music. And Spirit speaks to me through music a lot. And so that was one of my first clairs as well, clairaudience and clairvoyant, just seeing, well, clairaudience, clairvoyance, and claircognizant, those three. Always, 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 always. But when I began to hear this certain song, this particular song that she told me to sing at her funeral when I was 13, I was just singing a song in my room. And she's like, when I die, I want you to sing that song at my funeral. You sing it so great. And I'm like, lady, please. I'm like, you're not dying. But then 3 months before she actually passed, I heard that song, that specific song that I was singing when I was like 13, 14 years old. And it
Wow.
just played in my head, and it consistently played, constantly played for every single day until that moment she passed away.
Wow.
And I thought thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy. And I told my husband, I said, I can't get this song out of my head. And it just keeps getting louder. And it sounds like, you know how you have a vinyl record player, a vinyl record, and you put on the record player, and then you put the little eye on there, and it just the little needle, and then it
Yeah.
just plays, and it's that crackly, so that's how the song was playing in my head. It was like somebody put a record on the record player and then began to play it. And it would just get louder. Like they turned the volume up a little bit more every single day. It just kept getting louder and louder and louder. And I'm like, why do I hear the song? And then Spirit made me remember, which I didn't realize it was Spirit, made me remember that 14-year-old me in the conversation I had with my aunt. And I said, well, she's fine. There's nothing's going to happen to her because she was fine. In my mind, she was fine until she went to the hospital, and then until the day she took her last breath, that the song stopped immediately. Boom, no more. I was like, oh my God. So Spirit has a funny way of giving messages, and for me getting to understand and asking where is she, why she left me, where is she now right now, because I can't physically touch her. Help me make that make sense. I want to know where she is. I didn't care about anybody that passed away before her, because I didn't have that connection with them. I know I'm not saying I didn't care about people, but it was her that was like, how come she's not here? I want to just hold her, hug her, smell her again. I want her to make my food again. I want her to crack jokes with me again. Like, but that's not happening anymore because where is she? And so that put me in a place to do a lot of self-discovery and finding out, after I found out what mediumship was and how I could connect. And it was like, now go discover who you are. Now step into your purpose. Now do the things, Ermi. Now it's time, So her passing kind of pushed me. And she was still around me, Corey. That's the crazy part. I thought she wasn't around, and she still was around. She showed me herself, or she showed that she was around by activating another Claire. my clair aliens smell. I never had that clair. I never noticed it until she, I want to say a few weeks after her funeral, I began to smell her. I kept smelling flowers and like
She,
fabuloso.
she was like a bridge almost
Right.
in a way for you to the spirit
Yep.
realm.
Yep. She was literally the bridge in this aspect. Before that, it was just me and church. And so I had that bridge with church to connect with God in a different way. Remember, I grew up in the church, but not the church that I was in once I divorced my ex-husband. It was a whole different church, a whole different mindset. I felt the energy, the shift. I said, there's something here. Oh my God, my body is shaking and I feel something different. This doesn't feel like church. This is something that's in this church. I'm freaking out, but what is in here? But I'm seeing everybody's like, in the energy, the energy, and I'm in the back holding on to the chair because I feel like I'm about to pass out because the energy in there was so strong. So I was like, okay, God is in this church. God
Yeah.
is in here. I feel it. And then my aunt was another point of contact with spirit, but in a different way. To know I had spirit guides and for me to go search. Okay, I see you now. You're my ancestor. I get it. You helping me understand this. But what about these other energies around me? And that's when I learned my spirit guides and their names and learned about deities and all these different types of energies and different pantheons of, deities. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so much more. How did I not know there's so many things out here?
Everything.
Yes. So that was exciting. Even with you connecting with the energies of the zodiacs and the energies of the constellation and the star. I'm like, what, Corey? What are you talking about? And it
Yeah.
made me realize, oh my God, it's really much more than it. Like, I get excited because I'm still learning from you guys as well. Even though I'm teaching you, I'm learning from you all. I'm learning from, I told Spirit, let me or allow me to learn from people that I trust. And so,
Yeah.
again, you guys are a lot of the people that I now trust. And so, yeah.
And I think that also kind of brings me to my next point is mediumship shows itself in so many different facets,
Right.
right? So some people will get discouraged because I can't
Mm-hmm.
see the spirits in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you, like 99.99999% of people can't physically see the spirits in front of them. They're seeing it with their third eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mental image. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, the difference in the way that people experience mediumship is so vast. One shouldn't discourage themselves just because they haven't experienced it in the same way, or if they go to a
Right.
medium and the medium isn't exactly how you pictured it to be, with the table shaking and the lights flickering and
Right.
no, it
Right.
shouldn't. And if you do go to someone that's like that, I would almost be slightly
Mm-hmm.
concerned.
Skeptic. Mm-hmm.
Because how's that table shaking, right? Let's look at the table,
Mm-hmm.
see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on under there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but mediumship displays itself in so many different ways, and for me, like you said, it displayed itself as connecting with the celestial stars, right?
Right.
The celestial energy, almost speaking with what I perceive to be the archetypal energy of Mercury or
Mm.
Chiron,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's an interesting experience, but it's also super healing and super profound in its insights that it can give you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to highlight that because there's so many different ways. Some people go
Right.
into trance meditation where
Mm-hmm.
they go off and trance is like when they almost channel through them.
Mm-hmm.
What's that famous psychic medium that does?
Oh, no, that channels the energy like Bashar.
Yes, Bashar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bashar.
His name is Daryl Anka, and the energy that speaks through him is called Bashar. That's the energy. So his
Okay.
actual name is Daryl Anka. He's like a famous, well, not famous producer, but he's a well-known producer in Hollywood. He produced a lot of movies. His name would be attached to a lot of these movies, and it's a lot of these sci-fi movies too, which I didn't know. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting to know. He tells his story about how somebody like he was invited to like a circle or something, and then somebody told him, hey, you are like very powerful and you can do this, and he was a skeptic until he was able to actually channel this celestial or this alien being or this energy.
Yeah.
And the energy Bashar is just amazing. And so when I saw Bashar, I felt like Spirit was like, you can tap into energies this way too.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, what do you mean? And I tend to go into a trance-like state as well. And I was like, I need you to help me understand this. And then when I was live and a celestial, not celestial, but these 4ET, I don't remember if I told you guys or told you about it, where I do a lot of spirit-led mediumship. For those that are listening, I do a lot of spirit-led mediumship where I go live on TikTok and I connect with loved ones. And people in the chat have to let me know if that's their loved one or not. So it's kind of like a game in a way, who does this spirit belong to type game. And I want to say over a year ago when I was doing it with my friend Karen for alien beings. They didn't look normal to me, and they were like about 10 feet tall, standing in my mind's eye, but I'm seeing them in my room. And I stopped. I was like, oh my God, you guys, I don't know what this is. And I am literally looking at four beings. They're all looking at me tall. They're 10 feet tall. They're white skin, not like Caucasian skin, but like white paper color white,
Like
that
white,
chalk
white.
white. Yes, white skin, thin lips, and not the typical alien look, where we all know how ET look. No, these were like tall. And so I was like, I'm not going to connect. I don't even know what's happening right now. And everybody in the chat was like, do it, Ermi, do it. I said,
Do
well,
it.
if I do it, who's going to come save me? Who's going to reach out?
Yeah.
Y'all just going to watch it. You're just going to watch me get annihilated. Talk about do it. So I said, well, who is connected to these energies? And of course, somebody did put a white heart in the chat because I use white hearts for you to claim the energy. And somebody put a white heart in the chat, and I was like, wait, so you know these energies? And so it was Scotty. It was Scotty. If Scotty's
This
listening,
was
it was
Scotty.
Scotty. Yep. And Scotty was like, yep, these beings, they come to him when they come to him a lot. And he drew them out because when I asked if he knew, he said yeah. And then I saw him flipping a sketchbook. So he does have a book where he draws out these different energies and different beings that come to him. And I'm like,
Wow.
you know what, Spirit? Okay, I didn't channel those aliens, but it's funny that somebody understood that. It was funny that
Yeah.
Scotty knew exactly what I was talking about. So I thought it was amazing. I wish it was recorded, but we didn't know that we can record on TikTok like that. But I wish that was recorded. But a lot of people, they were there, they watched it. And they were like, oh my God, I remember that. I remember that. So I'm like, okay, good. I had a lot of witnesses that actually remember that. So and then I want to say maybe like a few months later, that's when those beings showed up in Miami, those portals. Remember that whole big story?
Oh, yeah.
It was
The
like a
where
few,
the coordinates were inverse from like the center of like
right.
the thing in like Alaska or something of that nature.
Right, something like that. Yeah. And I was like, Spirit, is that the same thing? Are those the same beings that I foresaw? Or I would never know. I have to probably go into a deep meditation
Figure it
and
out.
see. But yeah, so that was a great experience, absolutely. But with trans mediumship, a lot of people can do it, they just don't realize it. And it's just like the medium just going into like a deep state of consciousness, altered state of consciousness. And they allow the energies to speak through them. So they're not fully hypnotized or in that, but I'm still aware of my surroundings. It's just that I'm lending a piece of me to be channeled, so.
I might say that that's one of the more rare forms of
Mhm.
mediumship that I've found, at least from my observations and my experience around
Mhm.
mediums for the past
Mhm.
like year or so,
Mhm.
which is a limited scope. I understand that, but at least in my experience, people channel enormous amounts of other ways. Trans mediumship is very low on the list or the
Mhm.
quantity of people who do that. So,
Mhm. I
uh,
definitely set boundaries with it. I'm like, because it may look like possession in a way, but I will lend my voice. I will allow them to speak through me. So, a lot of people say, "Oh my God, you sound just like my dad. You sound just like they always say, you sound just like that person." I'm like, I'm lending it. They can actually speak through me in this way, or I will not do it as much because again, I don't want people to feel scared or think that I'm possessed because it's not possession, but it's just lending a bit of you. So
yeah, yeah.
that's how I do it.
Yeah, and I like it. And that actually that's a good point about the possession is there's so much skepticism and contradictions surrounding mediumship, specifically one being like, oh, you're just making things up, or you're so you've got
Mm-hmm.
like spiritual psychosis. People have thrown that around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then also that's the other thing with trance, people are, oh, you're possessed, right? You're possessed.
Right.
And I know that when it comes to dealing with these contradictions, you're almost a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Almost because, I mean, not only because that you've been doing this for so long and you've trained so many people, but also because of how you grew up. Like you said, you grew up very religious, right? And within
Mm-hmm.
the religious community, you don't dare say you're talking to a spirit. Like, I'm talking
Right.
to your great grandpa. Oh, what? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hold on. We're calling the pastor because we got to set up a time. We got to get you in here. We got to get you cleansed. We got
Right.
to get like hand on Bible, like
You're right.
holy water. Like, what are we doing?
Yep. Right.
So,
Yeah.
what is your experience having to navigate like through some of the common contradictions of it being evil, of it being fake, the
Mm-hmm.
scientific method of, oh, you're just creating imaginative things in your brain. How do you navigate through that? How do you kind of truly believe that this is mediumship over the alternative theories that they're suggesting?
I actually, again, over the last few years of doing this, it's the energies that I connect with. So if people feel like, this is a bunch of crap, or, I don't say, well, try me. Because I don't want to be there to have, I don't want to be performing. I don't want it to be to satisfy your thoughts of me not being able to do it, because I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm not here to prove to
Mm,
you that I'm connected with energies. Those that want to connect, and I even set the intention, spirit, bring those that want to connect with their loved ones, and keep the ones with the bullshit away from me, please. I don't have time for that. Those that have a lending or a listening ear, if they want to come around because they're curious and they can be informed or be educated on what it is that I do and how I connect. A lot of people ask me, do you get like lower vibrational energies, or you get, the demons, and I'm like, I have not have any connections with any demonic force or any demonic energy. I have connected with energies that are, I would say low vibrational, but that was no, not even low vibrational. I've had connections with energies where the taboo part of it, people that unalive themselves, they go to hell. That's all. That's literally what they teach us in church. Don't do it. Don't unalive yourself, or you going to hell. That's it. But I've had
yeah.
energies that unalive themselves, that show me they unalive themselves, and they still come around. They telling me how happy they are, they're free, and all of these different things. So it's like, okay, well, that's debunked. In my mind, I'm like, oh, that's not true, because how it is for me. A lot of people need to experience things for themselves firsthand for them to see, okay, well, that's not true.
Mm,
I'm one of those people.
yeah.
Okay, because you keep telling me that this is going to happen. Well, I've done it and I was able to connect easily, and this person's just telling me, yeah, I did unalive myself this way, but I'm still around this person. I'm still loving this person. And I want you to give a message to let them know I'm okay. And, because a lot of people that do come, they want to know, is their person okay? Or was it their fault that they did this to themselves, or like just trying to get to the bottom line, just get some answers. And I love to help them get those answers. I love to help them get a little bit of peace of mind and be able to go forth with their day and not have in the back of their mind, oh my God, they left me because the last argument we had, or the last whatever. So, but I've had some energies show up and they tell me how they were unalive by somebody else, by the hands of somebody else. It was not on their own. And it could it started to become very gruesome, because I'm getting more and more of the gruesome deaths and more gruesome situations. The
The more vivid things, yeah.
more vivid, more morbid, more, it's just more traumatic, tragic type energies are starting to show up. And I think that's another level of um I don't want to say elevation, but with spirit trusting that I can be able to handle those type of situations, or those type of energies that's coming forth as evidence. Because it's not, the energy is not showing this to me because they want to just show me that this is how somebody unalived them. No, this is an evidential piece for somebody that wanted to know what happened to their son.
Yeah.
The energy will show me, okay, somebody named Sean. I keep hearing Sean, or an S name. Chandra. This S name is connected to because your person keeps saying this S name or this T name or showing me that's not what happened. Literally a few days ago, I just had an energy tell me, whatever he said is not true. Whatever he said is not true of this female energy. She was saying that her partner, whatever her partner told her family or whomever, whatever he said was not true. He did have his hand in her death. He did have his hand in her passing. Yes, Corey. I was like, ah. And when the sitter came on, she said, we was wondering, we couldn't figure out, like, he told us this. I said, well, what did he tell you? Because what I saw was a hand being put over her mouth and she was being put into the back of the car. And, I kept hearing DV, DV, DV. So when she came up and I said, well, what happened to, what did he tell you guys? And she said, he said that she had like a lot of fumes and she like fumes from cleaning the bathroom and she was asthmatic. So she had like a asthma exacerbation that caused her to, the energy was like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not what happened. Yeah, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Yep. The energy showed me what actually happened a lot, a lot, a lot. Like that's not what actually happened to me. And I'm like, okay, so I need you guys to go ahead and continue the investigation because she keeps saying that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of cold cases or mysterious cases it's not being upheld in law because they need scientific facts, they need proof, and they didn't like Ermi's word. Who's Ermi?
Who are we to trust? Yeah. Yep.
Like, who is she? How's she gonna, how does she know that? Or why would we go spend our tax dollars to go and do what Ermi say? So that's
And
where
and then building off of that skeptic, right? The police department is going to say this random woman, Ermi, was
right.
able to give you specific information about where to find. Oh, not this isn't adding up, and now
Right.
you're one of the potential people on their list that they've got to
Oh,
interview, and that's the last thing you
I
need.
don't need that drama. No, I don't need that kind of heat. If you're listening, just
Like,
kidding. Just don't come for me. But if you need me, I'm here. If you really, really want to, I don't mind. I don't mind. But I get that a lot too. A lot of those energies. But with proving to people, because again, I have to prove to the police or prove to law enforcement, whomever, I have to prove that this is what I'm seeing, this is what's happening. And just like so pick your fight, Ermi. Which one do you which battles are you ready to face? So which ones do but spirit I feel is pushing me in that direction to cold cases or to missing people. I'm getting those a lot. A lot instead of the grandmas, and I love the grandmas and grandpas, and I love those. It's nice and it's not too heavy, and again, it helps heal the sitter. But when an energy shows up with her abdomen open and the baby in her hand, and she's pointing, saying, he did it," I'm like, wait a minute, and that's what happened to me last year. Corey, you're looking shocked.
I am. Y'all can't see my face right now, but my eyes are wide open. Because like that's just that I've never experienced that, but I think that also displays once again the vast array of ways that mediumship can come to people and also the vast array of ways that it can help, right? Because like you just said, yeah, you get the grandpas, the grandmas, the nice light ones that yes, they're nice and light, but it's still profoundly healing for the sitter that you're doing that mediumship for. And then you also have those more dramatic ones where you're potentially giving at least a little bit of hope towards a future or hope towards a next step. Right? Even if it doesn't give them a solution to what happened, maybe it gives them an indication of where to take that next step, or it gives them a direction to follow. I think that's a huge piece of it too. Is how do you navigate with that next step with this passing or with this tragic event that happened too? And that's a huge piece of mediumship that's important to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been led even a few months ago, not even a few months, probably like a month ago. My family and I went to a farmer's market, but we went late and there was someone standing outside and I was like, Spirit, this has to be your doing. She had flyers. This lady had flyers and she was handing out flyers and saying, I'm trying to find my brother. I'm trying to find my brother. And I was like, okay, Spirit said, go get a flyer. And I got the flyer and it shows that he passed away, or not passed away. He's been missing since 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, last scene here. I was like, okay, thank you. I'll, if I see something, I'll say something. I want to say a few days later, Spirit had me go get that flyer. So I told my son to go grab me the flyer. I got the flyer and put it like as soon as I grabbed the flyer, I was like, okay, let me go ahead and see. His energy appeared. And I was like, ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, his energy appeared and he was like, I need you to talk to my sister. I need you to talk to my sister. I need you to talk to my sister. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna reach out to her. And I'm walking down my stairs and he's like, are you gonna talk to her? Are you gonna talk to her? I'm like, okay, all right. First of all, boundaries.
First of all.
First of all, boundaries. But I ended up reaching out to her. I want to say that night I ended up reaching out to her and I say, hey, I just want to let you know I do have one of your flyers and I don't know if you know what a medium is because I felt like she didn't know what it was. And I needed to be cautious with it because, again, her intent is to find her brother, find her
And
brother
you also want
healthy,
to
find.
consider ethics in there too,
Right.
right? You don't want to just go up and be
Exactly.
like, your brother came up to me and like
Exactly, Corey. Exactly. 100%. 100%. I was like, okay, so how do I do this? What does this look like? Because I see you and I hear you tell me talk to your sister, but I need to know how am I going to do it? Because if I have her get read by me or a few of my mediumship alumni people, and they start saying, oh yeah, his body is blah blah blah. Is she ready for that? She's
yeah,
hoping out that her brother is okay and alive and, probably just eloped somewhere and went off with a girl. Who knows what she's thinking? So I had to cautiously say, hey, okay, I did get your flyer. I want to know, do you know, or have you ever had someone tap into his energy or like look in the way via psychics? She's like, I've never thought about that. I was like, see, that's why you can't just jump because she don't even know what it is. She was like, I never thought about it. I don't even know what you mean. I was like, okay. So I had to explain to her what a psychic medium was. And, if she didn't mind, me tapping into his energy or how does she feel about it. And she was like, I'm at the point where I do want to begin to learn or to know what happened, And I said, okay, we could do it. She said, but I don't want it to be recorded. I said, that's fine. I don't have to record it, but I do want to be able to help you with this because just an ease of mind. I just want you to ease your mind, and
yeah.
just know, but I didn't tell her, yeah, girl, he came and nope. I just wanted to gauge her and see. And then I said, okay, and I'll reach out to you in a little while to let you know when I'm ready to tap into that energy or whenever you're ready for me to tap in and when you're, you know. But she told me she was ready. I want to say like 2 weeks ago. I just never I never pulled the trigger yet because I'm
No,
like,
no.
wait a minute, spirit. Like what else comes with that? What else comes with that? So I'm going to gauge a few more people just to, see, okay, so have you done it? One of my favorite people is Kay Reynolds. And I think you met Kay Reynolds. I'm not sure if your class she came to one of the classes. And she wrote the book, The Evidential Medium. And
I
so,
think she did, yes.
yes, The
I think.
Evidential Medium. Okay.
Oh, we read the book. I don't think she came to our
Oh, okay. So it was the class
comparison.
before yours. Okay. So it was the group before yours. And she came and she's doing a little bit more of these cold cases. So I wanted to reach out and see like what you think about this. And since you've been doing this for 40 years, 30 years, what do you think about this? She reached out to me, I want to say last year, was like, Ermi, I don't know how you do the spirit-led mediumship on your lives. I think it's insane because you have so many energies coming at once. I was like, well, okay. Well, I mean, it works and I'm able to connect with those energies. So I think it's just like a leveling up. Like how much more can you tap in to distinguish the energies? So, but
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to reach out to her and say, hey, I have this situation. What do you think I should do?
yeah.
So yeah, that's my plan. But yeah, I have this photo right here. I'm literally right here. Like I'm going to talk about you, but
I'm gonna get it.
I'm
we're gonna
I'm
figure
gonna
it out.
yeah, I'm gonna talk about you and I'm gonna let your sister know. And I don't know what happens after that. I don't know if they're gonna, say, okay, you know what, you got something, Ermi, can we hire you to come to our police station, be like a whole remember the TV show Medium with Patricia
Yeah.
Arquette?
Yeah. There's actually somebody, I can't remember her name. There's somebody that I used to follow on Facebook a long time ago, where she was actually in, like, she worked with her local police station for
Mm.
like 6 or 7 years
Oh
on
wow.
investigating cold cases.
Oh my gosh.
And this was somewhere in the UK.
Okay.
I'll have to find her name and I'll send it to you. I
Yes.
can't remember her name for the life of me, otherwise I would give it to you, y'all. I'm not gatekeeping, I promise, for those of you who are listening. I just can't remember her name and I have to go scouring through my Facebook to try and find it.
Hmm.
But once I do, I will post it and I will share it to my Facebook page. So anybody
Yes.
who's listening to this can go to my Facebook page and then find her page through my Facebook page.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. The intention that you walk into mediumship with, just kind of rooting back to our original conversation, the intention that you walk into mediumship with is going to give you your result.
Hmm.
Right? If you walk in trying to find the dark energies, trying to find the demons, you're gonna find them,
Yep.
because you're looking for them, right? You're
Yep.
opening that door for them to come to you.
Hmm.
And adversely, like you said, when you're trying to find these healing energies, they're going to come to you, and you won't
Absolutely.
necessarily find those darker ones.
Right.
So, walking into mediumship with intention, both as a sitter and as a medium, whether or not you're looking to become a medium or whether or not you're going to sit with a medium, just
Hmm.
having a clear intention is something that is crucial walking into it from the gate. Right.
Right.
Now, how would you say, Ermi, how do you distinguish, because this is something that a lot of people may fear, how would you distinguish between an honorable, true medium and somebody who's just trying to run you for your coins off of TikTok?
Oh, okay, that's a great question. Um, I want to say, and I'm not going to say all mediums are doing this, but I want to say the ones that, because I notice a lot of people, for me, I'm gonna just say for me, I feel like me sharing my gifts, I don't really charge for my gifts. Now Spirit is like getting on me to show me, okay, I want you to understand your value, Ermi. I want you to understand people are not paying for your gifts, they're paying for your time. And that's where I'm at right now with Spirit and, doing this. I'm tiptoeing with this, tiptoeing
Yeah.
with this. But a lot of mediums that are not ethical. I've seen some non-ethical mediums. I've seen a lot of scammers. I don't want to pinpoint the person that was supposed to be my mentor. After I took that class, engaged her, I was like, this is weird. She's not as ethical as I thought she was. Because she was the first that I've seen like that. So, or in on TikTok. But Spirit is like, now listen, pay attention to what this person says. Pay attention to what they say. Does that sound like evidence to you? Are they just
Mhm.
generalizing? Again, that's why I was talking about the grandmother and yeah, your grandmother may have cooked. I would think she probably cooked. She probably hated cooking. But saying, okay, I see a grandmother energy. She cooked and she loved candy. And she is so general, like, okay, what grandmother doesn't? I need you to give me some more specifics. So when I see other people or like myself giving me evidence, I need something else. I want something that's not Googleable. I want something that that you could say, yes, oh my God, yes, my grandmother, she did love peppermints, but it was not the peppermints that was like the bag candy. No, she went to a store and she had them create the peppermints and they put them in a certain bag for her. And like, that's more details. That's more
Mhm.
evidence.
Yeah.
So when I see people like on TikTok and I'm watching them be just vague and it's not clear and they
I
are
see a rocking chair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see a bathroom. I see a bathroom and I see a toilet in the bathroom. The toilet is a white porcelain toilet. And okay, everybody got a toilet in a bathroom. What are you talking about? Like make it more clear. And what's been coming around too is a lot of and I give grace to those that have come out onto the platform to help. But I see where people are like running around with what they're saying and talking in circles, talking in circles. I see a male energy here. And so the male energy that's here is here and he's male. And so the male energy, he has an apple and the red apple, that the male energy has. But I'm like, what are you talking? Can you
They're
can
trying to
you
hit a
tell
word count.
me? Like, what are we doing here? Everybody in the paper, MLA style. Come on, let's just get the information. So what I tell my students, come on, let's stop pussyfooting around it. Just give the information. Just give it. Because again, I know sometimes you might need to say more words to buy time, but I think that makes it more like a word salad. I don't want to hear all the
Yeah.
words. Just tell me what it is.
Yeah.
And so pay attention to those that are like, and the energy is showing me that she loves skates. And so would you understand that the skates, the energy loves? The loving of the skates is amazing because she rides on these skates and the skates that emit. Wait, what?
Like,
I
okay,
would.
you're just repeating things now.
Where are we
Yeah.
going? Yep. So I've noticed that. I've noticed that, but I've seen some people that were so spot on to where their sitter is in tears and they're like, oh my gosh, and they're shaking up, and those that are not saying okay, because again I'm shifting a little bit of my mindset as far as like getting energy exchange. Spirit is like showing me, okay, this, you need to begin to do this energy exchange thing, Ermi. And I'm like, how many people got to tell me this? Now you telling me this, Spirit, and you finding a way to make me do the energy exchange. Corey, today I just did my first energy exchange on the live for mediumship, and I haven't done
Oh, wow.
ever. So today was the day that somebody actually said, I want to pay you to do mediumship reading for me. And it was one of my students. She set me up, but it was also the really, because I keep pushing it back. Okay, yeah. Next week, you guys, I'm going to start mediumship. But right now, let's just do some free spirit mediumship. Because I don't know if this is like just feeling safe for me. I don't know why. I just, but I got pulled out of, the curtain was pulled open for me today. But yeah, so ethics is big, big. I've seen people be very, very obnoxious when they do readings for people, and I don't want to judge people for how they do it, but you can't tell somebody, oh yeah, your husband's cheating on you because every time he come home, I'm not going to say it on your show, but I'm not going to say it, but I watched and my mouth was on the floor, and I was like, I can't believe she said that. And somebody reached out to me who was my student that was on the stage with this person because this person asked her to come up. She never took my class, but she asked my student to come up. And so my student assumed that she was one of my previous students. She thought she was a previous student, so she wanted her to come up. And then she was like leaning on to every time that student would channel, she would say, yeah, and I also see that person too. And I also see this too. And it's like, so yeah, certain people reached out to me and say, "Hey, this is what's happening." And I say, "Yeah, I think she's doing that because she wants to say she was a part of the ErmiSees team." And and I'll tell my students, "Hey, listen, hey, did I? Why are you going live? You just did the second week of class, girl. Like, what are you doing? You don't even understand ethics yet. You don't understand a lot of these things." It's just like I just didn't realize that that's what she was doing. I said, "Yeah," and I know the excitement of connecting with loved ones and doing mediumship will make you make some crazy decisions, but so the ethics, and a lot of people that's doing mediumship, they are afraid to be seen. They are afraid to come out there.
Yeah.
They really are afraid to do it. My 102 students, I'm like, let's go. We're coming out here. I want people to see you.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
doing it. I want everybody to see how amazing you are. I want to see how, and some energies may not want to come through me. They may want to come through Corey or may want to come through another student, so I have to back up a little bit because again, representation, representation. A lot of people like, I'm not going to that black girl. She doesn't know how to connect with my ancestors. And I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to come to your inbox. I'm not going to DM you and say, hey, I feel this energy around you and let's go and book a session with me. I'm not
Oh
going to
yeah,
do
be
that.
careful of those.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope. So when I see mediums doing their thing, and they're bringing in evidence and it's so accurate and it's so detailed, and you understand that your loved one had cancer and the cancer in the bone in the hip, like you going straight into it and you giving details, that would be a telltale sign that you might have a good medium. That might be a really good medium.
Yeah. And I think another telltale sign that you have a not so good medium is if they can't take a no. Right. So
Mm.
I want to go back to that gauging, okay? Because you said a keyword gauging like at the beginning when we first started talking about it. And gauging who you are going to allow to tap into your energy and into your spirit team or into the spirits that are around you is huge, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's within that gauging period, that observation period, and I'm not just talking about watching one. I'm
Right.
talking about watching like eight, nine, 10 different
Yep.
different medium, like different individual sessions that they're doing before you decide to do something with them. Um,
Absolutely.
because you'll see different scenarios where maybe a sitter tells them no, and then they can't take it.
Mhm.
And then they try and force it to make it work. And then you have to take a huge step backwards
Mhm.
without revealing their name. I had a friend who got up on somebody's TikTok live to get a mediumship reading,
Mhm.
and the medium told them, "Oh, I have a spirit that's telling me about SA that you experienced when you were a teen." And my friend said, "No, I'm not like, I don't resonate with that." And then she goes, "No, there definitely was. Like, even I get it, you don't want to tell me about it up here, but there definitely was." Um,
I know.
and that is not a medium that you want to go see. That is not somebody you want to
I
sit with.
know exactly who you're talking about.
Uh,
Very unethical, Corey. Very
very
unethical.
unethical.
Why would an energy tell you such detailed information or such triggering information? I don't say things like that on my live. I am cautious of other people that's in the chat that it could trigger them. I don't want to trigger other people to all they all fall into this dark space because I said some triggering things
Yes.
that is not even like, why would you say that on a live? That's something that's in a private personal reading. If that person had like, the sitter had like 6 friends that didn't know about it, and they tell them, come to the I'm gonna get a mediumship reading, come. And then now you are revealing this type of information. How much pain are you creating? And now this is the topic that you're gonna have with your friends, and they're gonna look at you. It's all judgment, and it's very unethical. So
Yes.
I know who you're talking about.
I had to bring it up because I was like, what more of a perfect
Yes.
story, because or not story but example of
Right.
unethical mediumship,
Yep.
and not just unethical mediumship, but just a medium who's outright wrong and can't take that, right? So
Yep.
medium who can't see past their own ego is not a medium you want to sit with.
Right. Yep. When
um
they forcing you to say, "Oh no, you know what I'm talking about." Oh yeah, that's exactly. Sometimes some of the things is like, okay, put a pin in it.
yep.
Maybe something may come up. It might not be you, but I won't even talk about that. I will always hold that type of information and be like, you know what, some things I'm not going to talk about on here. But I definitely, I tell spirit, okay, give me another thing. Even setting an intention, like, it's my intention to always talk about this and have every single person that I'm connected with, those energies can talk about that. I don't want that. I don't want those type of energies to talk about that. Mm-mm.
Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely not. So making sure that you, as a sitter who's going to watch a medium, and making sure you're going to someone and taking the time to actually gauge, read up on the reviews. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't have many reviews out there, be cautious. Ask them
100%.
if you can interview them, honestly, because
Right.
you need to see how they're scaling on that ethical slide. And again, how willing are they to take that no? And how much detail, like you said, are they going to give? If you're
Mm-hmm.
skeptical, look for those details. If they're talking in those umbrella terms,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
anybody can say, "Oh, there's an old woman. She's got white hair. Um, she's got a cane and she's got a glass of water next to her."
Okay.
Okay,
All right. That's
okay,
all. That's all you got.
that's all you got. Um,
Yeah.
Cautious.
Yeah.
Okay,
Be
so just
cautious.
be super, super cautious.
And also sit back and watch those mediums. Vet the mediums. Watch them. Watch how many readings they do. Sit back and watch them for a while. If it takes months for you to really go to gauge to see, because a lot of my followers, literally, Corey, I want to say a few days ago, I channeled for somebody that has been following me for almost a year and a half that I've never channeled for ever, ever. And when her husband's energy came forth, and then I brought her on the stage. I was like, oh wait, okay. She said, yep, that sounds like my husband. I brought her up. It was such a beautiful reading, Corey. It was such a
Wow.
beautiful reading, and as much as she wanted to cry, he made her laugh. He gave me more details that made her laugh. Even her song, she said, we've been together since, or I knew him since I was 7 years old. I was like, wow, like it was such an amazing reading. It was such an amazing reading. But she sat back and she watched me. She sat back and enjoyed the reading. She sat back and watched if I was ethical or not. Because I'm sure she would have been like, oh no, I'm out of here. This lady is crazy. She don't know what she's talking about. She sounds like she's just all out for the money. And it's like, no, I'm here to teach you. I'm here to make you feel safe. I'm here to make you, like, we're gonna have a conversation in the chat. I want you to gauge me if I sound like I'm making sense, or sound like, or if spirit has brought you to my space to say, hey, this person right here, you'll be able to learn something from. That's what I want it to be every single time somebody stops on my live. Even if they ask a million questions, will Johnny marry me? I will stop and say, well, what do you think? I want you to tell me how you feel about Johnny.
I love when you do that. I love when you do that.
Let's talk about Johnny. Because why Johnny ain't marry you yet, sis? What's going on? Is Johnny, is Johnny a red flag? Or are you not paying attention to the red flags? Is Johnny trying to tell you he doesn't want to be with you and you're not picking that up? Like,
Are
why
you a
does
red
Johnny,
flag?
are
What's
you
going
a
on
red?
here?
Yes, yes. So I have to, because again, this spiritual world is big and everybody do their lives differently. And one of the things that people do in their lives is allow people to just ask questions. Ask your questions, I'll respond. Ask your questions, I'll respond. So everybody thinks that that's how it is for every single person on TikTok, and that's not the case. Don't
No.
come to my live with that. I'm gonna let my mods will mute you.
Fast. You got some
Fast
snipers in there. They are quick and they are fast and accurate, okay?
and accurate.
Waste no time.
No.
But it's part of why I love the space that you've created, because it is a safe space, right? It's not a space where you're going to deal with any of that. It's not a space where you're going to allow any of that bullshit to come through and ruin the energy and ruin the flow. If you're in the middle of a mediumship and somebody's typing, is Johnny going to marry me? Is Johnny going to marry me? Is Johnny going to marry me? Is Johnny going to marry? My favorite thing is when you pin their comment straight to the top and you're like, hold on, since this person wants so much attention, let's give them all the attention that they want for just a moment. My favorite thing ever.
Because why would you do that? That is rude. Don't jump on my live. Sit back and watch. Engage the room first. Am I saying everybody put your questions? Or you see your question is the only one that's being repeated over and over. You don't see anybody else. It's 150 people in here, and it's your question that you keep. Nobody's talking. It's just you. Are you not gauging? Okay, wait. Why nobody is putting any comments in the chat? Okay, so since you want your shine, sis, let me go ahead and pin you to the top and let everybody go ahead and see your question. And then we all can answer your question for you. How about that? Let's make it a community answer.
And all 30 spammers who are sitting in here can get all your information, can get your questions so that they can message you, and you can spend money for things that you're never going to get an answer for. It's not, and that also comes down to gauging before you interact is actually more for your protection too. Like not just like your energetic potential, but your financial protection, right? Because when you start, tell me about Johnny. Johnny does this. Johnny does that. Johnny does this. Before I've even selected you, that I'm going to give you a reading.
Right.
Now, any spammers who are sitting in my chat
and
I'm gonna sit here and see. Okay, you got Johnny who just passed away. They worked in the construction career. He was 6'2".
Yep.
They're gonna see everything that you wrote, and then they're
screenshot
gonna regurgitate that for you for evidence.
Yep. And they will screenshot the information. They will screenshot it, and then they will go on your DM and say, hey, Johnny is calling, reaching out to you. I have an energy named Johnny. And do you understand he's a construction worker? Go ahead. If you want more information, I will give for $89.99. I can go ahead and give you more information what Johnny's saying. So now you just set yourself up to be scammed.
Yep.
You set yourself up to be scammed. And I had a few people tell me, Ermi, somebody reached out to me while you're live. I'm like, okay, so y'all know I'm live. I'm not sending myself out. I'm not requesting anything. It's critical thinking, y'all. It's not even critical thinking. It's just common sense. Y'all can see that I'm literally not messaging you all. And scammers do that all the time. They will sit in, they will change their name, they will copy my page. Y'all favorite mediums or favorite stars. Johnny Depp is not trying to inbox you. Johnny Depp is not inboxing you, friend. Tyler Henry is not inboxing. There's 1,000 Tyler Henrys because, again, a few people are going to be gullible to think Tyler Henry is messaging them, and then they will go and give their life saving to this random person wherever he is or she is to connect with their loved one, because it's amazing to connect with Tyler Henry. And I didn't realize that until I started to do this. People are like, oh my God, Ermi, it's you. And I said, well, there's one particular person. I said, well, how did you know that it wasn't me? At the point when they requested the Cash App of $120 Cash App. And I said, oh, well, what made you not do it? She said, it was a white person's hand in the photo. I was like, oh, so you really was gonna give it until you saw that hand, huh? Like, come
Wow.
on, y'all. Come on, stop playing with
Wow.
yourself. Yep. So they're starting to realize it. But it's every day, every time I go live, because people make TikToks every day. That's a very
Yes.
big platform. So I have to repeat it over and over. And I remember in the beginning, people were like, why you keep repeating this stuff? I was like, because I meet new people every day. Y'all
Yeah.
know y'all not the only people that I talk to. Like it's 50,000 more people that's gonna show up within the next 2 months or 3 months. I
Yeah.
have to repeat it because people don't know. And they're grateful too, Corey. At the end, I was like, oh my God, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for explaining that to me. Thank you for, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't mind saying it over and over again. And I even shout you guys out, all my alumni. When y'all
You
pop in, I'm
do.
like,
You do.
shout out to my alumni. I definitely got to say, my alumni are the best, the bomb. I love my alumni. And to show everybody that they can do it, that's why I have the alumni. Put a star in the chat, alumni. Let people know that this is a real thing. I'm not sitting here saying join my class for, whatever, for shits and giggles. These are people that's actually connecting with their spirit team and they can channel and they are doing their things and they're walking their spiritual walk and their journey. They're doing it. But they just needed that kickstart. And I probably was a part of that kickstart for them to keep going. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we say all of this because if you are going to look into mediumship, because mediumship, as we've discussed throughout the various stories, throughout like everything that we've talked about, it is profoundly healing across the board. Whether you are a medium, whether you are a sitter going to get a mediumship reading or a mediumship done for you, it is potentially life changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it can allow you to process through emotions that you haven't processed through for
Mm-hmm.
years, potentially even decades. Okay. So it is all very healing if done properly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to gauge who you are going to gauge the energy that you're going to integrate with, and gauge the energy that you're going to get a reading from.
Yep.
Use your discernment. Make sure you're not being scammed. Okay,
Absolutely.
don't be so eager to get that message that you put yourself in a deeper hole because you've opened your energy up and you've now allowed yourself and given out $100 to a scammer who
Right.
isn't going to give you a message that you're going to be able to resonate with or connect with, and it's not actually going to give you anything at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always try to get a message from the energies. You're here. I described you. Okay, so what's the message? What do you want to say? What does the person need to know? What do they need to, how can I help them heal? So I always intentionally try to get more. I'm not going to sit there and describe 50 pieces of evidence about your person that you already told me. Yes, that's my person. That's my person. Yep, that's my person. I might give you a few more pieces and say, okay, and do you know or you understand this? And then I'm like, okay, so you're here. What's the message? And they will
Yeah.
tell me, hey, let her know I love her and it was not her fault. Literally one of the energies, I want to say last year, he came through on a live and he did unalive himself. And so the sitter was thinking, "Oh my God, this was my fault this whole time." I found literally she just believed that it was her fault, and the energy said, "No, I was going to do it anyway.
Oh,
I was going to do it anyway. I was in the hotel room, and I was going to do it anyway." And then I said, "Did you find a letter, or they had a letter?" She said, "Yep, I had they gave me a letter," and I said, "Yep." So that shows you he was very intent. The intent was not to make you feel like you did anything because you had just spoken to him. And she said, and it never dawned on me. He never made me feel like he was going to do anything like that. I said, well, when somebody have their mindset, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter, who they speak to in that moment, but they're going to do it. And that energy came to tell her, hey, no, it wasn't your fault. I was going to do it anyway. I'm here. I'm still being my super funny self, and I still love you. And I need you to release that. I want you to let that go because it was not your fault. So she was harboring that for some years, thinking that. And the
wow.
energy came through and said, hey, it's not your fault. I want to let you know. I know you think about me a lot, but you didn't do anything to make me make this decision.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And yeah, I have no other words than wow for that, because that specific story is, I feel a lot of people can resonate with a similar facet of feeling guilty.
Mm-hmm.
It's that survivor's guilt that a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people struggle through. Whether or not they were directly involved with somebody's passing or not, they still feel guilty that, maybe I could have done something, maybe I could have been there. And
Mm-hmm.
just to have that last message of you know, really there's nothing you could have done, and there's it wasn't because of you. Like you shouldn't feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. I got chills. I have chills. I have
Mm-hmm.
chills. So it's so profoundly healing. So
Mm-hmm.
so 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 profoundly healing.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if you feel like you could use any sort of mediumship guidance, definitely seek it out. Don't be afraid of it. Don't allow skepticism. Don't allow fear to kind of overcome you, but do some gauging, do some
Mm-hmm.
research, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand that the medium themselves had to have gone through some healing, like we've talked about at the beginning. If they're truly a good medium, they would have had to go through a healing process of their own, of some.
Right.
And if you're gauging somebody and they don't seem as if they've gone through that process, um, maybe that's not the medium for you. Okay.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so, Army, where can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok. I do have a webpage, www.ermisees.com or http://ermisees.com. You can also again find me on TikTok, on YouTube. I mean, I think I'm on all social media platforms as ErmiSees, just ErmiSees, and only on Instagram I'm Ermi.sees, so Ermi period sees. So yeah, on all platforms you can find me. I'm going to I am doing more on YouTube because the clock app might be shut down. I don't know, but I am doing more on YouTube. I've been making a lot of meditation videos. I've been doing a lot of spirit-led card readings on YouTube. So I'm kind of leaning more to YouTube. But you can find me on TikTok. I'll go live on TikTok a lot.
Amazing. And you offer, at least to my knowledge, I don't know that you're going to be stopping anytime soon, but you offer mediumship classes, both 101 and 102. So
Yep.
if you are listening to this and you know you don't necessarily feel as if you need mediumship guidance, but you may be interested in becoming a medium, you show signs of any of the initial things that we talked about or any of the gifts that we talked about, definitely Ermi is the person to go to. As somebody who's taken her 101 class, she is the person to go to for that. So.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I have the classes coming and I've started to do workshops too. So those that are not ready to take the full class, I still give them the workshop and I am on workshop number 6, I want to say. Workshop number 6, Corey. And I'm doing
Wow.
the same workshop and number 6 and incredibly um it's been incredible and also every single person has been able to connect and channel in
Wow.
the workshop. So
Wow.
like, okay, y'all doing it. You're blowing my mind. So Spirit say, do not do any classes right now. Wait till January, but offer workshops. And I also have a mediumship ebook that I've created. So I've noticed a few people purchase the ebook as well. Because again, people are still unsure and they still have a little bit of fear, which is the false evidence appearing real. But they still have a little bit of fear. And so I go ahead and recommend the ebook. Get the ebook and then go do some of those meditation for mediums on my YouTube channel. Just go do a few meditations, meeting your ego, and a lot of different things that I feel like it's been lacking. I don't get to see enough of those meditations out there. So I try to just create things that will work for some people that want to only just come to me. It's a million mediums out here, y'all. But
Yeah.
those that are coming my way, Spirit say, but they don't want to go to all those people. They want to just come to you. And I'm like, okay, all right, Spirit, I get it. I get it. So let me make sure I create things for these people that want to come in my direction. So I appreciate every single one of you guys that are listening that have found me or has found me now. Thank you all. Thank you all. And I can't wait to meet every single one of you all. And thank you, Corey, for
Yeah,
this.
of course. And thank you for coming on and talking about mediumship. I took the class and I developed my connection with mediumship and the other side for myself. I don't offer mediumship services or courses or anything of that nature for myself, but like you said, it is something that I continue to utilize within my own nature and within my own
Mhm.
life. So
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you use professionally or
Right.
anything that you have to use like on TikTok or on YouTube or anything.
Right.
So don't be concerned about that if you are
Mhm.
worried about that.
Mhm.
But I will say that it did deepen my connection with astrology,
Yes.
and it actually propelled me towards offering my own astrology courses. And I don't have any
Mhm.
available right now, but eventually in the spring, I will be opening up for spring enrollment for my
Mhm.
next round of astrology students. And I do
Mhm.
want to mention, for astrology purposes, we did start this session at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 14th, via a Zoom session, so we don't have a location necessarily. You could use, I guess, the East Coast, somewhere anywhere on the East Coast, and that may give you more of an accurate reading. But if you are into astrology and you're looking at this episode, it is 3:40 p.m. Anything else you wanted to note or say or anything of that nature before we wrap up?
I do want to say that mediumship is not the goal for me to teach. I don't teach mediumship. I really want you to learn how to overcome the fear of connecting with spirit.
I
That's
love
my
that.
main goal. I don't want you to be afraid to connect with spirit. So if it's mediumship or psychism or just connecting or tapping into your intuitive abilities, I want you to connect with spirit. I want you to overcome the fear of that and allow spirit to guide you to wherever your purpose is or wherever you're supposed to be in this life. So mediumship is just one of those connections, but
One of the
again,
ways.
overcoming the fear. So again, Corey, you just said it. Now you flow with astrology, because again, you were able to connect with spirit and connect with all these different energies. So
Yeah,
that's my goal. Overcome the fear.
I love that. I love that. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap up. If you want to find me, you can find me at pathwaylightbycorey.com. I am also available at Pathway Light by Corey across all social media platforms, so you'll be able to find me anywhere on social media at Pathway Light by Corey. So thank you once again, Army, for coming on, telling us all of your personal, beautiful stories, all
Thank
the
you.
stories that you've done for other people, all of the healing sessions that you've gone through with other people, and also how to kind of navigate through the world of endless amounts of mediums, or what feels like endless amounts of mediums as well.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you.
All right. Sending love and light to every listener, and have a blessed day.